Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Sarah at One Big Happy Yarn Company, and we are ready to finish up our Bargello mittens with the amazing Kristin Nicholas. Again, just thank you so much for being here and sharing this pattern with us, Kristin.
Oh, thank you for having me and asking me.
Anytime, anytime. So, you have been on this journey with us over the last 2 episodes where we did our fantastic 2-color corrugated ribbing on the cuff. And then we moved into our zigzag Bargello pattern. We did our nice stripy thumb gusset. We are gonna finish up the top of these mittens, add in our thumb, and do all the final finishing touches. Kristin, why don't you walk us through how we finish up the top of that mitten?
Okay, all right, so in the last episode, we did the thumb, we put the stitches onto the holder, and then we left you with working this section up. Now I want to tell you that this is not as big as this. This is a smaller sample. It would actually continue more before you would decrease for the mitten top. But since we're sort of making believe on this, we're going to go right to the mitten top shaping so that you can learn how to do it. Now this is super easy. I have gotten to the end of this one chart. You're going to do it for as many inches as the pattern tells you to do. Yeah. And also, you can try it on your hand if you are the person that's going to be wearing the mittens and you want to go all the way up to the end, and the decrease is only going to take 3 rounds, which is basically nothing. So you want to go to your, pretty much to your tip of your middle finger, and then do the decreases. It'll give you a little bit of smushy room.
I love that, smushy room.
Smushy room, you need it.
A little bit of wiggle room for your fingers.
Okay. So here I'm going to work in blue because my top of my mitten shaping is all in one color. You don't have to continue. You're going to stop the 2-color knitting. And we're going to do knit 2 together all the way around.
Nice and simple.
Very simple, very easy.
So it's a 4-stitch repeat. So you're taking 4 stitches and turning it into 3.
Right. And you don't, I'm going to break my yellow yarn off here because we don't need that. And it's only the one color.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, and then I'm knitting these 2 together.
So simple.
Knit 2, knit 2 together. And the cool thing about this is you're making your stitches go down, so you're going to have less stitches to decrease in your next round.
It'll go even faster.
It goes super fast to get rid of all these stitches. Knit 2, knit 2 together, knit 2, knit 2 together. Whoops, sometimes you have to do a little tuggy.
Loosen everybody up a little bit.
Yeah, loosen it, yep. Knit 2, knit 2 together. And I have 1 needle left. Knit 2, knit 2 together, knit 2, knit 2 together.
So quick.
Knit 2, knit 2 together. Okay.
Look at that, all the way around.
All
Done.
the way around. Now my next round is going to be knit 1, knit 2 together. Knit 1, knit 2 together. Knit 1, knit 2 together. Whoops.
So simple.
Knit 1, knit 2 together.
Now is this a mitten top shape that you like, that you've been using for a while?
Yeah, it's like a basic sort of spiral, twisty knit. I don't know what you call it. I have no idea. Round mitten top shape.
I like it.
Very basic.
So I'm working on those decreases now as well. And it really does go so fast.
Okay, I am on my next round.
You're on the last round already?
I'm almost decreased. So now we're going to knit 2 together all the way around.
Even easier.
And this one you might have to tug a little bit more. Knit 2 together, knit 2 together, knit 2 together. So now I'm down to 3 on that one needle.
Yeah, you'll be down to 3 on each needle when you're finished.
Right.
And I get you a tapestry needle, get you all set for that.
Okay. Knit 2 together. And this is actually the same decrease that we're going to do for the thumb, but we're going to show that to you in a minute or two.
Yeah, it's nice that in creating this pattern, Kristin has built in skills that get repeated over and over again. So not only are you learning new skills, but you're practicing them so that it doesn't feel so new and scary every time you come across them.
Okay, so I've got 9 stitches and all I'm going to do is thread it through all of them.
Look at that. Would you show that to us?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to break my yarn.
Okay.
You do have to be a little careful that you don't tug too hard on all this stuff, because this yarn is a little bit fragile, and when I was making the sample, I kind of broke the tip.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I had to rip back a little bit. So all I'm going to do is take this, and I'm going to I'm just going to pull through.
Oh, you're just slipping the stitches onto your tapestry needle.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Whoops, got my yarn a little screwed up here. I mean, there's different ways you can do this, but this is an easy way to do it. And then, whoops, go through here. These 3 stitches. Uh-oh, dropped them. Put them back on. End of the project here. Okay, pull it. So that's locking them in.
Oh, so easy.
And you pull through. Pull them tight.
Look at that.
Okay, and then what I do is I stick my needle down, just down through here, come up, so I don't want to catch anything of the floats, come up here, and then I turn my mitten inside out. I'm going to unthread this. And I find that end. Okay, there's my end. And I just rethread it. Oops. And I'll just do a little bit of like,
go around that circle.
yeah,
a couple
go
of
around a
times.
few times
Yeah.
just to make it a little thicker there, because it can, you know, it could undo. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but this is the way I kind of do it.
Yeah, there's no perfect way to do it. As long as
No.
you're working to secure that tail up at the top, it should be fine.
Yeah. And you can, if you feel like it, you can
Backtrack.
just go back over,
Yeah.
catch, and go and like weave a little top to it.
Yeah.
It won't show on the outside.
So I'm going to flip this one inside out so we can see where you've woven in all the other ends. So the nice thing about colorwork mittens like this is you have all these floats on the inside, so you don't have to be super precious about where you weave in your ends.
Right.
You don't really have to worry about doing any kind of duplicate stitch or working within the stitches as they exist. Yeah, you can see all the long
Here's
ends.
my long threads. Do you want to weave in the ends now?
No, I think
You will do the thumb next?
yeah, we can do the thumb next.
Okay.
But you don't have to worry about weaving all these ends in until you're really finished with the project. Much like Kristin did with the top of the mitten, I tend to weave that one in right there when I'm finished, just so
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
open back
yeah.
up while you're doing the rest of the work. But the rest of the ends, I wouldn't worry about until you're actually finished with the rest of the mitten. But just because we were working on that, I just wanted to show Kristen's got, little
I
bits
leave
and
like
bobs.
a half an inch tail just so it doesn't pop through,
Yeah.
and then it'll felt as you're wearing it.
Yeah, and it's fine. And
I usually weave them through, like at least an inch or so.
yep, you always want to move about an inch of your yarn tail through the body of your work, and that helps to lock it in place. But again, you don't have to be super precious about how you're weaving it in and making sure that it's invisible. That's the inside of a colorwork mitten. It's a mess, and nobody's ever
Nobody's
gonna
gonna know,
notice.
no.
Nobody's gonna notice. So yes, so let's move on to that.
The thumb.
The
finishing
fantastic
the
thumb.
Okay, this is so cute. It's like a kid's mitten.
It is.
It's like perfect size, and we were just demoing on it. Okay, so now we've got our thumb stitches that are on the holder. So we have to pick these up and put them on 3 needles once
Right.
again. Okay, so you're not going to have very many stitches on these 3 needles. It gets
Right.
a little fiddly, but I'm going to pick up one off this holder. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to just do 5 here. I have no idea how many stitches I need here. Oh,
But your
looks like-
pattern you will have put the right amount of stitches onto that scrap thread or stitch markers from whatever it was that your pattern indicated you were to do at that point.
Right, so I've got them all. Okay, now we have to add a stitch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break this
The
yarn,
scrap yarn.
the scrap yarn. Okay, pull it off, and I am going to. I just got lazy. Instead of, if you wanted to keep having the stripe go up, you could, but I got lazy and said, this matches the top and it's fine with me.
I like that the thumb matches the cuff and the top.
Yeah,
of the
yeah. I
mitten.
mean, it's a design feature of some sort. So let's go with the teal. Okay, so after this first round, after I pick up my stitch over here, then I'm going to redistribute them on the needles.
Okay.
Okay.
So you go right into knitting the stitches that are on the needles, and you pick
Yeah.
up the stitch at the end.
At the end, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to knit these. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that looks like I've got 4 over here. You're going to have as many stitches as you had on your holder as the pattern told you,
Yeah, and that'll depend on your size.
right? Okay. Okay, now with my leftover needle to make it into 3, this is slightly tricky, but not impossible. You have 2 choices. You can pick up a stitch just by going through here and wrapping the needle over it and just picking it up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can make this into a backward loop and have it on the needle.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then with your next needle, carry this through
And knit it.
and knit it. Ooh, it gets a little tight, but it's just for a couple rounds. And then
Then you're back to the
and
beginning
you're back
of the
to
thumb round.
beginning, right? And you're going to keep going on that.
So why did we pick up that one little stitch in the middle?
Just to have a little bit more extra room to go around the thumb. Okay. Sometimes I pick up 2. It kind of depends how I feel.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll pick up 2 and then decrease it right away to 1, but it gives you that inside of the thumb. You see here.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there, and then it decreases right there. I think here, yeah, it decreased right away.
It's almost like an additional gusset to make room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You
Just
just
a little
follow
bit of
what the
room.
pattern says. And now we're going to go around.
And are we doing any decreases here, or?
I'm not going to do any decreases. It's 1 stitch.
Yeah. So then we're just going to work to the length of the thumb.
Right. And you can try it on you know, if it's for you, try it on, and then your thumb decrease is going to be the same as the other one. So it's going to go over 3 rounds. It's going to be knit 2 together around, knit 1, knit 2 together around, knit 2 together, break it, and finish it off.
So it's just like the
It's
calf
just
of the
like the
mittens.
top of it.
Oh, so easy.
So it's so easy.
Yeah, so it's just a couple of rounds, and then you get into those decreases, and then you're so close to done.
So close.
We have one more really important part that we need to go back to in the mitten, and that is where we started.
Right, we're going to finish the ends.
All right, we finished our finger cap. We added our thumbs. Yours will look a little different than ours since we're just working on the little samples for you. But then the last step before we really get to the finishing on this project is to go back to that rolled cuff that we started with, because there's a gap because we worked that back and forth instead of working it in the round. So we need to
close the gap.
Yeah, show us how we work on that.
Okay, so we've got our tail, which is probably about 7 or 8 inches, and we're going to thread a tapestry needle, and it's so easy. You just seam it. You just sew the cast on together, and you just sew that. Nothing fancy. You only have 3 rows to close.
Yeah. I'm just doing a little whip stitch on mine because it's a rolled edge.
It's not even going to show.
Nobody's even going to see where you stitch this together.
No.
So if you've ever been worried about your seaming prowess and you're worried that you don't want anybody to see it, this is like the perfect project for that, because once it's seamed up, nobody sees where you stitched it together.
Because it's going to roll.
Yep.
So then you bring the thread to the back, and then you've got to, you don't want to cut it because it could break, right? So you're going to just stitch through little bits of it.
For about an inch.
And then, oops.
Yeah, then you can cut it. And then you can move on and weave in the rest of your ends on the inside.
Yeah, usually I will, because the thing rolls a little bit, I'll take this thread and I'll move it up through here.
So I don't, that little tail doesn't pop out.
Right, yeah. So I cut it off, and I'll usually leave about a ½ inch or so.
Yeah.
And before I cut it, I give it a good stretch so that it's sort of set there, and then cut.
Awesome.
Okay?
So you're going to go ahead and seam up that rolled edge, weave in your ends, or not, and then right back here, and we're going to show you how to block these mittens. We are so close to done with our Bargello mittens. Just one last final crucial step, and that is blocking. It's super important with a project like this. Kristin, why don't you explain why?
Okay, so we did this on the 3 or 4 double-pointed needles, and you can see right here there's a lump where that was where my yarn carried to the next needle, and that usually happens. Now this is a wool alpaca rayon blend, and if you stretch it, it will sort of straighten out. But if you do the blocking, which is the magic of wool and vegetable fibers, get it wet and then put it on a blocking board, it will be completely flat like this.
Yeah. So there's 2 different methods that we recommend for this. I'm going to bring out our fantastic blocking board from Lori Holt. I love this because there is a measured grid on this one. So if you need to block to specific length and width, you can. That's all measured out. But also if you're working on round projects.
Oh, wow, look at
that's on the
that.
other side.
Very cool, huh?
It's fantastic. So we're going to work on the straight side here today. And then we also have our fantastic mitten blockers.
Oh, aren't those cool? Wow.
Yes, that come with separate thumbs. Now,
cool.
This, you'll notice the writing is reversed because this is actually the front side.
Okay.
When you get these, you will need to remove the backing paper, and you just kind of have to find a corner and begin to peel, and it'll come right off. It's just from when we manufacture these that backing paper stays on. So now I will tell you, with Kristin didn't use the mitten blockers on these, but when I block Fair Isle over these mitten blockers, because there are some sharp edges, I like to roll it up inside out. And then get actually these are round tips, so I'm going to put the round tip in there. And then sort of roll them back down over the mitten blocker. And it takes a little bit of work, but it's worth it in the end. Just take your time with it. Ease it on down over the mitten blocker. This is why I love these mitten blockers, because you can do pointy tip mittens and round tip mittens. And then it gets narrow right where
it needs to be.
Yeah, right where
right
that ribbing
cuff,
for your wrist is. Yeah. So that, and then there's also the thumb can slide right up into that thumb so that you're also blocking the thumb shape. So now you can do this with your mittens wet. Let me see, I've got just a nice bowl that you would want to fill with sort of lukewarm water, and you'd want to use some kind of wool wash like Eucalan or Soak. Just a little dribble of this in the bowl with the water. Let the mittens soak for 15 to 30 minutes. Then when you lift them out, they're going to be really wet and heavy. You want to squeeze as much water as you can out, but don't wring or twist your work. And then you can set that bowl aside. You can put the mitten blocker inside of it. You could also use just pins, and you could pin the mitten in place and leave those pins in until it's nice and dry, or you can put the mitten blocker in it until it's nice and dry. The other option, which is actually my favorite for mittens, because usually when I finish mittens, I want to start wearing them, is my favorite handy dandy clothes steamer.
Oh yeah, that's what I use.
So this is just something that I picked up at, pharmacy, $20. It's a clothes steamer. Put the water in, turn it on. And this is one of the reasons why I like these blocking boards. They're just a little bit sticky, like not sticky, but they have some texture to them, because these steamers don't like being held this way. You wouldn't want to try and steam your work this way because some water's going to come out. But if you can get your work up on just a slight angle, then you can absolutely steam your work. And you can go ahead and put the steamer right just skimming the surface of the mitten. And then flip your mitten over, skim the other surface of it, and then leave it until it's dry. And then
you're all done.
You are all done, and you can immediately
put them on,
wear
them, warm yourself up.
Yeah. So be a little bit careful when you take your mitten blockers out. You should be okay. Just give it a little wiggle. Watch those edges as you come out so they don't catch on anything. Make sure to take the little thumb piece
so you
out,
don't put
or
it
it's
in.
gonna feel funny. And you will have your finished, blocked, beautiful
Bargello mittens.
Kristin, I'm so glad that you've shared this project with us. I just love these mittens, and I can't wait to make several pairs for myself. But I think the only thing holding me back from getting started on this tonight is the idea of the other mittens in this
let's
series.
Let's see.
Oh, these just make my heart sing. Look at all those beautiful colors. Yes, these are the Norwegian flower mittens that we will be working on further in this series. More fun with color work and some of Kristin's signature embroidery. She's going to walk us through how to do that. Just so many things to learn and explore.
I'm so glad I make you so happy, Sarah.
You really do. If you haven't yet, make sure that you visit onebighappy.com and pick up a kit for either pair of mittens. Work your way through the Bargello mittens with us. Make sure you join us for the Norwegian flower mittens. In the meantime,
happy knitting.